grab your candles and gather round, friends, for another episode of Ghoulish and Foolish. Ooh. On this week's episode, we'll be delving into a story that's been around since the 1970s.
Yes.
Annabelle.
Ooh.
Oh.
Last week's episode, there was a bit of an outburst from me in reference to
A
certain...
social media person cutting Annabelle's hair.
I don't even think she's a social media person. I just think she's a normal person.
I thought you were going to say I just think she's a knob.
Oh, correct. 100%. But I think you can pay, can't you, to go and see her?
Yeah, she's on tour in the US at the moment.
Yeah, so this will get into that as well. But this woman paid to go and cut her hair.
To kind of...
Yeah.
She didn't believe it was... This is my thing.
Yeah.
I am all up, just because I'm a believer, I'm all up for having discussions with skeptics.
Mm-hmm.
But 1% of your brain has to go, but what if this is true?
Yeah.
And all of the stories of Annabelle,
mm-hmm.
I'm like, why would you want to test that? Even if it is 1% of you believes it, why would you want to test that?
I just think it's selfish. Straight up. Selfish. Why are you praying, so if you don't believe, that's all well and good, but what possesses you to go and grab a pair of scissors and go and snip the most demonic known
Notorious.
doll? Yeah.
Yeah.
On the face of planet Earth.
Yeah.
The thing is, we'll all suffer. We're all suffering because she decided to cut her hair.
Right, I think we're jumping ahead a little bit. So we've done research, we've looked at things, so we're going to start first with the origin of Annabelle.
Yes, I've got notes on my phone. Vanny made a great point that she doesn't like it when people read off their phones, which I do agree with, but there's a lot of
There is a lot of information and we don't want to get anything wrong for you viewers and listeners.
So I've got my handy dandy notes. So we'll go straight into the origin. So according to the Warrens, who are
Ed and Lorraine Warren,
correct, Donna received a Raggedy Ann doll as a birthday gift in the 1970s. They said the doll behaved strangely and that a psychic medium told the student that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a deceased girl named Annabelle. A homegirl. The student and her roommate tried to accept and nurture this spirit-possessed doll, but it was reportedly exhibited. Reportedly, we're at the disco. Give me a sec. Let me just center myself. But it reportedly exhibited malicious and frightening behaviour. It was at this point that the Warrens say they were first contacted, moving the doll to their museum after pronouncing it demonically possessed.
Interesting.
Interesting.
So some of the things I know about the origin of Annabelle is the fact of when it started moving and started in the house. Obviously, Donna was a nurse.
Yes.
They'd go to work and they'd leave it in, say, the bedroom, and they'd come back and it was sitting in the living room.
Yeah.
And that developed, and then it started leaving notes behind.
Yeah.
Saying it missed them and wanted to stay and stuff. The interesting fact I found out is all of the notes were written on a parchment paper.
Yeah, so I got that year. So
Donna didn't have in her house.
Yeah, so after receiving the doll, Donna and her roommate Angie started experiencing strange events, including the doll moving from room to room.
Yeah.
And leaving notes on parchment paper.
But yeah, it wasn't paper Donna had in her house. So did Annabelle just pop to the shop? Just imagine you're a server and a Raggedy Ann doll rocks up just
Yeah, but what are you doing if that happens to you? So say if you're in a position and this Raggedy Ann doll's waltzing on up to you, what are you doing?
I'd probably, I don't know, in the generation...
I'm fucking drop kicking that hoe down the stairs.
See, in the generation we're in now, I'd probably record it and be like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, and then you can record me drop kicking her down the stairs. Absolutely, that hoe doesn't stand a chance.
I love how
I'm taking this stuffing out of her legs.
I love how last episode you sat there going, I'm a nice guy.
I am a nice guy. Jake, you can put that there again. I am a nice guy.
But you'd drop kick her.
I would drop kick her. I'd use it to wipe the fucking windows. No chance. No.
There's two different accounts of who back when Donna had the doll, who had possessed Annabelle.
Yes.
So there's an account of it's a little girl called Annabelle who had died in the field where the apartments had then been built.
Yes.
And then there's another account that was said by Ed Warren a few years later, saying it was a little girl that had been hit by a car outside the apartments.
That's sad, yeah.
That, though, automatically for me rings a red bell that if this spirit has spoken to two different people and already has two different stories on how they died, it's not the truth.
I agree. So I've heard here that a medium was contacted and it was determined that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a 7-year-old girl called Annabelle Higgins. So
the Annabelle Higgins bit was added for the movies. The Higgins name was never actually in the history bits.
Okay, so it doesn't really say like the origin of Annabelle's death here. It's just saying there was a 7-year-old girl called Annabelle. I'll leave the Higgins bit out of it because that's just for the cinematic and not real life. But in reference to Ed and Lorraine Warren, the Warrens were consulted and they concluded that the doll was being manipulated by a demon.
Yep.
So here is why the Annabelle doll is considered very dangerous. So possession of a
malevolent
spirit. According to the Warrens who investigated the doll, it was inhabited by the spirit of a girl named Annabelle, but ultimately it was believed to be possessed by a demon with malicious intentions. So the doll was said to move around on its own, write notes, and even cause physical harm to its owners, as well as other people in the area. It would also spread negativity, so the doll's
malevolent.
Thank you.
She did practice this 5 times before the pod and still can't say it.
Yes, so presence is said to have caused other items in the Warrens Museum to become haunted, suggesting that it can spread its negative energy to other objects. Demonic nature. The doll is believed to be possessed by a demon, and the Warrens have documented the need to bind and control this dark force, indicating that it is not simply a playful ghost.
Well, looking online about possession and all of that to do with the Annabelle doll, a lot of paranormal investigators state that spirits can't actually possess items and they tend to haunt places and they might move things, but they don't physically possess things, and it's more of a demonic thing that was never alive that is more likely to possess an item. Poltergeists move things and throw things, but they don't like possess and take control of.
I thought poltergeists, they don't really possess like humans, so they mess around with objects.
Well, a spirit from looking at the paranormal attaches itself to people, but they never. It's very rare occasions of possession. It's more of a demonic entity or more of a darker energy that goes into the possession, which is what Annabelle wanted. She wanted to attach herself to the women.
So, threat to further possession, the Warrens have stated that the demon within Annabelle was trying to possess a human host, further fueling belief that the doll is a dangerous and harmful entity. So, for safekeeping, the Warrens took the doll into their care and housed it in a glass case at their occult museum.
Which is unfortunately closed down now.
Correct. The Warrens had a specially made glass and wood case constructed upon which they inscribed the Lord's Prayer and St. Michael's Prayer. For the rest of his life, Ed would
Is this their son?
Periodically?
Yeah, is that their son-in-law?
Say a binding prayer over the case, ensuring that ensuring that the sinister spirit and the doll remain good and trapped. Since being locked up, Annabelle the doll hasn't moved again. Incorrect information now, because
up until 2025,
people are money hungry and silly and stupid.
But going back to obviously the doll being in the occult museum, you could pay and you could go visit the occult museum and you could explore.
Yes.
Obviously you were supervised.
Yes.
There is only, surprisingly, most people think Annabelle has killed lots of people.
Yeah.
Annabelle, according to the Warrens, is only tied to one death.
Yes.
Did you know that?
I think so.
So, back in, I don't know what year it was,
okay,
but a motorbike biker,
Mhm.
and his girlfriend had come to visit the Warrens Museum and stood there mocking Annabelle.
Yeah.
Like going, people say you scratch them and do this, and mocking her, trying to intimidate her to get her to do something. Nothing happened, and Ed Warren kicked them out of the museum.
Good on you, Ed.
On their drive home 3 hours later, they were in a serious motorbike accident. He died on the scene, and she was taken to hospital in critical care.
That's what you get, actually, just for being rude.
Like I said, why would you test it, even if you don't believe
like
it's
I said,
true?
I'd kick it down the stairs, but like I would never say to her face.
Annabelle, if you're watching this, Amy apologizes.
Like I'd fully off to fight that woman who cut your hair when we won, just for like peace.
Yeah.
And know that I'm safe, because I would protect your honor like that. But if behind your back, I'm kicking you down the stairs, straight up.
So a lot of talk, just no action.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to take out the case, am I?
No.
I'd leave her in there, be like, oh, your house looks really nice. You know, you spring clean today. You look lovely, Annabelle. I like your new trim, even though you didn't give permission. By the way, here's a trim like of her hair. You can keep that in your little locker if you want. But yeah, like.
Yeah. But okay, so talking about Annabelle and obviously people that believe, some people that don't believe, let us know in the comments if you do believe Annabelle is possessed or you don't. We're interested to see your viewpoint.
Yes.
But the reason I truly believe is even at Lorraine Warren's death, she made promises that Annabelle would never be let out. She made her daughter promise. Her daughter and son-in-law were offered, after Ed and Lorraine died, $1 million, America, to sell them Annabelle, and they were like, no, it's never going to happen. You can offer us as much money as you want. We're not. So,
and look what's happened. Look what's happened. Two of the people who managed this fucking doll for a majority of their lives, they died, and now look what's happened.
Yeah, it's on the move. But like,
shameful.
If Annabelle isn't real, why would you keep up this facade?
I just want to point out, Annabelle is real. This is like Jesus in it. Also, stop me from getting too much into this religion. Just cut me off when Jesus was a real person. Jesus was a carpenter. Supreme carpenter. Anyway, but, you know, the Bible itself, that's where you stop me from carrying on with the Bible.
No, I'm really worried about where this is going.
But
how we've gone from Annabelle to the Bible.
No. Jesus is a real person, but a lot of the stories that are told about Jesus are quite fictitious. But Annabelle is a real thing. It's like, you know, not saying that she was like a real person or anything, but the doll is there. It's in a cupboard, in a thing, and you know, there's been many photos and recordings of it. It's just the stories of Annabelle can come across a little bit far-fetched. I that was the correlation I was trying to make.
Okay, no, I see what you see. Every story, it's like, you can't call it what I was going to call it anymore. The Whisper game that used to be referred to as...
I know, don't say it.
Yes, that game. I don't know what it's meant to be called now, but obviously calling it what it was.
Hush, hush, whisper, whisper.
Yeah, sure. Hush, hush, whisper, whisper proves, obviously, if I tell you a story of my experience with this, you then pass it on, the stories then develop and change.
It's changed and it's like manipulated the further online down it goes.
So I think when you hear stories of Annabelle, you've got to be careful of taking them as 100% truth, but...
It's taking it with a pinch of salt, isn't it?
Taking everything with a pinch of salt. Yeah. Because obviously no one's going to tell a story if it's boring and, I went to see Annabelle doll. Nothing happened.
Yeah. But like if you went to Annabelle doll and then you went home, your house caught on fire, then everyone cares. So, but then you take a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Since being locked up, Annabelle the doll hasn't moved again, and it's alleged that her spirit has found ways to reach the earthly plane.
Yeah.
Once the priest who was visiting the Warrens Museum picked up Annabelle and discounted her demonic abilities. Silly man. Ed warned the priest.
Yeah.
My man Ed, we're a good guy. Ed warned the priest about mocking Annabelle's demonic power, but the young priest laughed him off. On his way home, the priest was involved in a near-fatal car accident that totaled his new car. I love how I put in a new car.
Yeah.
So not only is she impacting people like physically, but like financially as well.
Yeah.
Current times, when handling the doll, keepers put on gloves that have been doused in holy water and Wait. Okay. Quarantines when handling the doll, keepers wear a pair of gloves that have been doused in holy water, and contact with the doll is limited to a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Maximum time. I'm not sure if this is correct, but it says here 15 minutes.
Okay. I don't think I'd want to hold the doll for 15 minutes.
I don't want to hold the doll point blank, period.
I would hold the doll in terms of if, say, for example, I'd gone to visit the Warrens Museum, they were like, we need to, like, move the case or something, I would help. But I wouldn't want to physically just be, like, cradling Annabelle. Like, I think it scares me too much. I'd love to go see her. Like, if she came to the UK, I would go see her.
Would you?
I would.
Well, if you go, I got no choice but to go with you.
Well,
like, I'd have to go.
Well, talking about Annabelle coming to the UK, me and Glass went a few years ago when I think it was Annabelle Comes Home, the film.
Not my own.
We went to the cinema and watched the film, and it was with one of the Annabelle dolls they'd used for the film.
Oh yeah, because I want to talk about that actually. How drastically different, like the movie doll is to real life.
My God, was it scary as fuck. The Annabelle doll wasn't there for ages, and I was sat there kind of sulking, just like, well, I paid extra to watch the film with this Annabelle doll that's not here. And then the film started, and the guy walked in carrying the doll just by its arm dangling next to him, and sat like behind me for the whole movie. I kept turning around to make sure the doll was still there and hadn't just like vanished to kill me.
I'm not doing that.
Like,
oh my God! You made me enough to do that.
It made the film so much scarier, but I think it made the film so much scarier because in the Warren Museum, when the Annabelle doll's there, they've got one of the film dolls there now as well, because one of the film dolls started. Not
really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
They've got one of the film dolls in the Warren Museum because
I've seen it in the Warren Museum. Yeah.
Weird things started to happen with the doll. So they think because it was the one that was used for most things.
Yeah.
Not one of the ones that were used for like the smash scenes or like being thrown and stuff. It was one of the ones for most things. Started to act weird and everything. So they think they'd created like a psychic link between them.
Interesting.
So then Annabelle could move from the.
But they say that,
Museum.
don't they? Say there's like what is it? It's like a psychic link between Annabelle the doll, Robert the doll. I don't know who the third one is.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. We'll do an episode on haunted dolls. I want to order a haunted doll from eBay.
eBay?
Yeah.
That's the most haunted thing about it, chick. eBay's awful
eBay,
place.
you can go to the description. It gives you a description of what type of ghost.
Actually, I'm going to take that back. My dad loves eBay. You do get some bargains on there as well, so I'm going to take back my prior statement.
You wanted to discuss the differences between the film doll
how they're so drastically different. And honest to God, to me, I think the original one is scarier than the one that's in the film. I love China dolls. I think they're so pretty. So like when I seen it was like they obviously based it off like a China-esque doll.
Porcelain doll.
It's like, yeah, I just think they're pretty to me. But I think that's how I've been brought up.
See, I think porcelain dolls are creepy because they're the stereotypical horror movie doll.
Oh.
And like the way their faces and eyes are glassy, so it adds a reality to it. I don't think a Raggedy Ann doll looks scary.
100% it looks scary.
No, it's fabric. You can just set it alive.
Yeah, but you can set porcelain light as well.
Porcelain bit, won't Mum?
Yeah.
Have you never watched The Boy?
No. No. But I just like, to me, that's my personal preference.
So, we've talked about the past of Annabelle and looked into bits of the movies and the difference between the movie and the real doll. But let's talk about Annabelle today, because she is still, I would say, I was going to say a pop icon, but I don't mean
Slay Queen.
I don't mean that like Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift level.
I
mean pop icon as in, I would say even if you're not into paranormal and spooky,
everyone knows
who Annabelle is.
Yes. So present day, the Annabelle doll remains in a glass case. Was at the Warrens Occult Museum.
Yeah.
Annabelle doll is presently on tour in the US as part of the traveling expedition Devils on the Run. Annabelle doll, the well-known from the Conjuring movies and paranormal folklore, is presently on tour in the US as part of traveling expedition The Devil's Run. I said that twice. I just put it twice in my notes. But there's a bloke, some random bloke.
Isn't it
Nobody knows who he is.
Ryan?
We'll say it's Ryan. If it's not, eat us up. But this bloke is just taking it upon himself to take one of the most dangerous historic demonic dolls on tour across the US, and it went missing.
In Texas, didn't it?
In Texas, someone stole the doll. They were missing for 3 days?
3 days, yeah.
However, there was a series of events that led up to the doll going missing.
Well, we'll start with its first location, New Orleans.
Yes,
New Orleans. Was it the day or the day after the doll arrived?
Day after, I believe.
The day after the doll arrived, a historic plantation house burnt down.
To the ground. Hallelujah, by the way. Burn it to the ground. Burn them all to the ground. I think it's ridiculous that they're still standing, to be fair.
No, I think they should be around, but I think the way that they had it as a wedding venue.
Yeah, okay.
I think keep it around, like stuff in the National History Museum.
Yeah.
We're not erasing our history, but I think you can't sugarcoat it and go, oh, this is a beautiful wedding venue now. You need to acknowledge the history was there.
Yeah. It's
erasing POC's history and struggles by just going, it's a lovely wedding venue.
I agree with you there, but I think people who host them as wedding venues burn them to the ground. I think it's diabolical, to be honest.
No,
that's the whole thing in itself.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. We don't want to cross any lines.
It'll become a thing.
Yeah. We don't want to do that. But yeah, diabolical, I think, is outrageous. So that was burnt to the ground. And there's... Again, taking things with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
There was videos all over TikTok that in the flames that you could see people walking around in the house. Yeah. And there was a... I'm not sure if she's a prosecutor or a defender, but she poured a bottle of stuff on the ground, wasn't it, for the ancestors that had passed there, and that's how the news broke that the plant had burnt down.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a side-by-side correlation at that point of Annabelle.
There was also, as well, with the plantation of why people became obsessed to go in.
Yes.
The spirits of being free is they put the fire out. Randomly, it just ignited again.
Yeah. So it just is like that was the first. That was the first thing. Then 10 prisoners escaped, and I'm pretty sure they were high-profile murderers.
Yeah.
They escaped from prison in New Orleans. Yeah.
Whilst Annabelle was there as well.
Whilst Annabelle was there.
This is the one bit. Love social media. Obviously, we're putting a podcast out on social media.
Love it.
The one thing I don't understand, and looking at it on TikTok, it's usually the younger generation.
Yeah.
Not the millennials, the ones after 2000. I don't know what they're called.
Gen Z.
Gen Z.
I'm a Gen Z.
That were going, oh, you're one of the rottens then.
What?
That were going, oh, Annabelle's correcting the wrongs of the past. Annabelle's our girl. She's saving us. She's freeing people. No,
I agree.
I genuinely don't think if Annabelle was to do with those incidents, which she might have been, she might not have been. Take everything with a pinch of salt. Don't think she was doing anything to benefit others. I don't think she's that type of
she's not.
Thing.
No, our homegirl's not like that. I think. Now, bear with me on this journey, okay? I think Annabelle is very similar to Godzilla, because Godzilla hates everyone. The only thing that Godzilla likes is Mothra, and that's the point I'm going to make. Annabelle don't care about anyone.
We got that.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. You look at Godzilla don't care what color you are, what height you are, what gender you are, who you are. He is on sight. It's SmackDown, unless you're a lovely, colourful, beautiful moth. But I don't know who Annabelle's Mothra is.
Maybe Robert the doll.
I'm not. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't make a romance out of this. I'm not doing that.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park 3, a romance.
I think in this journey, I'm more than happy for the doll to tour. I don't think that's a bad idea.
To tour?
But I think the way it's been handled and the way I don't think the proper precautions have been put in place for a doll that is
to touch this doll, you have to wear gloves that are doused in holy water.
For it to go missing for 3 days.
And now you're just taking it out of county. You're crazy, Ryan. You should be locked up. This is like biological warfare.
You literally could have just booked a paranormal session with the doll by yourself.
You're making enough money, Ryan. I just don't understand why she need to go and talk. She hasn't dropped a film. There's nothing. You don't see them ragging little Robert around you. No, you don't. He stays in his cage. You're not even allowed to take photos of him.
But I think it's more a case of the safety precautions weren't there.
No.
It should be under lock and key. What was it you said, obviously, when I told you about the girl that cut her hair? What is she? She's...
a psychopath.
No.
Oh.
The doll. not the girl that cut her hair. The doll. When obviously historical buildings are listed buildings.
Yeah.
That one. She's basically that, but an item.
Yeah, she's a historical item. Like.
That was what I was trying to get.
That's fine. I think that is the word.
I was like listed building.
Oh, she's a historical artifact.
There you go.
Yes.
So I don't see if she's a historical artifact how it could just be.
Now I'm thinking about it. We'll have to fact check this, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't think that was the real doll. Honest to God, Ryan, I know you like to make a quick buck. I don't think Ryan would let that woman cut her hair.
Do you know Ryan personally?
I'm gonna act like I do, because Ryan, you need to keep that little bitch locked up. This is outrageous. How dare you take her on tour, by the way, still. But, I just don't think that would ever be allowed to happen.
See, I think what they should have done...
What we need to do is get that psychopath on the pod. Please come.
Message us. We'll do it, Teams meeting.
And, Vandy will make sure I don't knock your ass clean out.
But, I'm sorry.
On site.
But they used to, when the Warrens were in charge of it, you used to be able to book a meeting with Annabelle. It was all over Teams. So you'd the camera was on Annabelle. Yeah, and people would do paranormal stuff. But even
I'm sorry, it's getting ridiculous now, isn't it?
But things would happen.
Would it?
Yeah.
Well, of course it would on Teams. You get a little string and pull something.
No, as in, if me and you were on a team now and the screen was there, and we were on a call and the camera was on Annabelle doll, weird things would happen here.
Oh.
Is what was happening.
Okay.
But it was limited to I think half an hour calls. Because weird things started to happen. See, I think that's a safe and cautious way to do it. Because if bad things do start happening, you can literally just go end call and hang up on Annabelle.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I got Wi-Fi issues.
You can't do that if you're in the same room as her and you've cut her out and she turns into just Chucky.
Yeah, you just walk out the room and lock the door. Try opening the door, you 1'5" piece of shit.
She killed somebody on a motorbike that drove home 3 hours ago.
I don't have a driving license, so she's not killing me in a vehicle accident. But
is there anything else about Annabelle you want to
Yes. Basically, again, you need to keep me on track, so I might get a little bit lost. Stay with me now, guys. Okay, so once upon a time, Joshua and Jake, I'm allowed to government name them because it was the men version of themselves that bought me this book for my birthday last year before. Yeah. Anyway, I like to read now and again. But the things I like to read case studies.
Case studies.
That's what I enjoy.
Or short horror stories.
Short horror stories. Or Jurassic Park, which I'm currently reading right now. I just finished The Handmaid's Tale, so
I see how many times you mentioned Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park counter. Get rid of the fucking government name. I want a Jurassic Park counter, yeah. Anyway, the book is Minds of Serial Killers by, I think is Christopher Lee Berry. Love that man. Again, if you're going to check anything out, read his books. So he worked with the FBI payroll science unit. He's done a couple of books. They use his books, whatever. I was reading a case in this book, and there was a woman, I'm pretty sure she was the lawyer of the case or something. I can't remember the exact case either, but the woman's name was Annabelle. And I had the telly on, not realising where I put on the telly, and I got to the name Annabelle in the book, and oh my god, and I looked up and I seen Annabelle's face, literally, and it's just like the Raggedy Ann doll on my screen, looked directly into her eyes, slammed my book closed, turned my telly off, and I had to go sit in my living room for like 5 minutes, and I was like, I'm gonna die. Someone has done this to me and I am gonna die. She's coming for me. But then there was like weird stuff started happening in my flat after that. Again, take this with a pinch of salt. It's literally pure, like probably pure coincidence. But like the light in my corridor just started flickering on and off. I've lived in my flat now for about...
Hello everyone. I hope you have enjoyed the video. I do apologise, there has been technical difficulties. So the last 9 minutes of our audio has been completely corrupted. So we've not been able to actually include it in the video. So that's what me and Vandy get for joking about Annabelle coming in, because she did, and she snatched our audio. So unfortunately the files are corrupted. There's nothing that we can do to get the sound back. Just a bit of context leading up to where the sound did cut off. We were talking in reference to me reading one of my books. And then we seen Annabelle on the screen. We then heard a loud knock on the floor. So a lot of the footage where the sound has been corrupted is basically just me and Vandy staring at the floor, to be honest, trying to figure out where the sound has come from. It's just very eerie, to be honest, just looking at me and Vandy staring at the floor. But yeah, apologies. So this is kind of like your outro, so Ghoulish and Foolish. But we do hope that you enjoyed the episode. We are going to look into it. Hopefully this doesn't happen again. Great second episode. But yeah. Corruption. Annabelle. Cheers, hen. We appreciate you. Please don't kill us. We're really sorry. And leave our microphones alone. Peace.